A few years ago on YouTube, there was this viral video of a ring bearer at a wedding. See, everyone was set up. The bride and the groom and the pastor were at the altar. You know, the groomsmen and the bridesmaids were all down the line. Everyone is ready. Everyone's standing. Everyone's waiting. And then you can hear this sound. And this little kid in a tiny tux, while running and screaming, comes through the church, still screaming all the way down the aisle, takes the pillow with the rings and throws the whole thing at the bride and the groom. And then immediately proceeds to keep screaming and running all the way back down the aisle and out of the church. I mean, the lung capacity first, that's pretty impressive. This kid wasn't interested in bearing anything. He didn't want to be a bearer, which I feel like sometimes comes even to those who are having something that they must bear. To nerd out on you a little bit this morning, a famous ring bearer from the land of the Shire, Frodo Baggins, who in The Lord of the Rings, his fate was chosen for him to bear this ring, this like evil, powerful ring, and it was his job to take it so that it could be destroyed to save all of the earth. And he goes on this harrowing journey with a bunch of other companions, and they slowly start dying and fading away as he's trying to get there to destroy this ring. And it's too much. So much so that there's a moment when he feels like his burden is just too much to bear. And he says to Gandalf, who's the wizard, who's his guide, and he looks up to him. He says to Gandalf, "I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this would have ever happened." And Gandalf replies, "So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. It's up to them to decide what to do with the time that they're given." We are all bearers of many things. Things that we don't always get to choose. Things that are sometimes not what we want to do. We bear burdens. We bear the weight of the world around us. We are also bearers of joy. In our gospel lesson for this morning, Mary becomes such a bearer. The angel Gabriel comes to her and says, "Greetings, favored one." Anytime I hear like greetings like that, I immediately think of aliens. But greetings, favored one, or as more commonly known as Hail Mary or Ave Maria. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear a greeting like this, greetings, favored one, I think, well, what do you want? And Mary seems to feel the same way. She's skeptical. She's perplexed. Who is this? What could they possibly want from me with this kind of greeting? The angel of God comes to declare to her that she will become a bearer, but more specifically, that Mary will become the Theotokos. That's your Greek lesson for the day. The Theotokos, the God bearer. What a title, right? A thing to bear, to be the carrier, the deliverer of God. Theotokos. Now, being the bearer of God has its hardships, as you can only imagine. Maybe somewhat similar to those kind of hardships that Frodo would have felt in Middle Earth. Like she was in danger, right? Like the baby was in danger. We know that shortly after Jesus's birth, they had to flee as refugees to Egypt for their safety. The baby was born in a barn. That comes with its own set of dangers right there. And even right now, where she's at in her journey, the bearer of this baby as an unmarried woman would have left her in grave danger. And I wonder, through all of this, was there ever a time where Mary said, "I wish this had never come to me. I wish none of this would have ever happened"? So do all who wish to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. We have to decide what to do with the time that we're given. Many of us are bearers of our own kind, bearers of secrets, bearers of burdens, bearers of others that we care for, bearers of responsibility, and yes, still, bearers of joy. See, Mary is the Theotokos, the bearer of God. And this came with a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety. But it also came with great joy. A baby, a son, to be the mother of God. That has to come with amazing joy. It's like Mother of Dragons. That's a great title, right? But Mother of God? Wow, seriously. See, for us, when we think about the things that we are bearers of, it's really easy for us to get fixated on the things that we bear that weigh us down. And we often forget about the things that we bear that make us lighter. These joys. What are the joys that you bear? We get to choose what to do with the time that we are given. And what do you choose? What will you choose to do with the things that you bear? For our psalmody this morning, we hear Mary's Magnificat. In case you're wondering, it's the psalm like once a year that doesn't come out of the Psalms. Because these are important words that we need to hear in this moment from Mary. Because what does Mary do in the time that she is given with the things that she is the bearer of? She chooses to sing. She chooses to bear joy. And she chooses to continue to be the Theotokos her whole life. She loves her son. She cares for him. She cares for him. She is the bearer of God far beyond just Christmas. And some of you may be thinking, yeah, Pastor AJ, we get it. It's almost Christmas. Try to find joy. But it's not that easy, right? I mean, after all, it is 2020. Yeah, it's a hard year. But choosing to bear joy in the midst of chaos is a calling that Mary took, and that each of us are given the opportunity to decide. I wonder if, like the Theotokos, we can find joy to bear even in our fear and anxiety, even in the chaos that's often around us. It is almost Christmas after all. There's got to be some joy out there. This week, I'm leaving you with a challenge. I challenge you to take some time to think about the joys that you bear. What are you a bearer of? And to share those with your spouse or partner, share those with a friend, or for you introverts out there, spend a little time journaling about it. What are the joys that you bear? What are the things that are gifts from God that we bear each and every day? Think on that this week. Amen.